You know, it's kind of like the story of the three bears. The C-Class Cabrio was a little too small. The E-Class Cabrio, it was a bit too big. Now you have this CLE Cabrio, and it's just about right.
The AMG CLE 53 is new and features a whack of AMG engineering under its sculpted sheet metal. The fact it's 58mm wider up front and 75mm wider at the rear than the mortal CLE emphasises the powerful form. It all starts with a 3-litre inline turbo 6 that works with an electric supercharger and a 48-volt mild hybrid system. The electric motor is incorporated into the 9-speed automatic transmission. When the lot is working together, the 53 makes 443 horsepower and 413 pound-feet of torque. This produces a run to 100k in 4.2 seconds, with the 80 to 120 passing move coming in at a speedy 2.8 seconds.
When you drive this CLE, you notice that there's very little in the way of turbo lag, and that's because the turbocharger is supported by a 48-volt electric supercharger. The supercharger looks after the low end, the turbocharger looks after the top end, and the two switch over at about 2500 RPM. It also helps to boost when you go into the overboost mode to bump the torque from 413 to 443 pound-feet. It works delightfully well.
The engine and 9-speed automatic work with AMG's 4MATIC Plus all-wheel drive system. It is fully variable and changes the manner in which it splits the power based on the driving conditions and the drive mode selected. In slippery mode, it adopts a more even power split to prevent unwanted wheel spin. In sport mode and above, it shifts to a rear drive bias but can still send power forward. So when you clip that apex, it pulls the AMG CLE 53 out of the corner in fine style. For the inner driver, there's the optional AMG Dynamic Plus package. Among other things, it adds steering wheel dials for the driving programs and handling settings. Again, in sport mode and above, the torque distribution becomes increasingly more rear biased. This package also includes a launch control function and a drift mode. Yes, a soft top with a drift mode that fires all of the power through the rear wheels. The CLE 53 rides on steel springs with adaptive dampers. The setup is comfortable and compliant, which is in keeping with its Grand Touring mandate. However, it does this without sacrificing roll control, which is good for the initial turn-in response.
Now, one of the reasons this car dances so nicely on a twisty road boils down to the four-wheel steering. Now, it can turn the rear wheels up to 2.5 degrees. Below 100 kilometers an hour, it turns them in the opposite direction to the front wheels. Once you get above 100k, it turns them in the same direction. This brings a sharper response and better stability.
The driver expects an AMG to handle and deliver a fast throttle response. The CLE 53 Cabrio does not disappoint, although it is not as hard-edged as some AMGs. That said, it handled a very enthusiastic charge over twisty mountain roads exceptionally well. Part of it boils down to the fact there's absolutely no cowl shake. Removing the roof removes the second strongest panel from the car. If its strength and integrity is not returned, the driver feels the steering wheel move laterally as the body flexes. There's none of that nonsense here. Inside, the cabin is eye-catching and lavishly attired. From the freestanding 12.3-inch digital instrumentation that's customizable with different looks and the ability to display the map, to an oversized head-up display, the driver is always well informed. The nit is the head-up display could be smaller, as it tends to dominate the view through the windshield when it's switched on. To the right is the 11.9-inch portrait-style central display. It can be tilted from its 15-degree rest position to a more vertical 40 degrees to prevent the screen from washing out when the soft top is down. It works with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto and the Burmester sound system in the test car. There's also decent cabin space. Up front, the seats are body-hugging without being confining, and the rear seat will accommodate an adult as long as the front seat is not fully rearward. Finally, there's 385 litres of cargo space with the roof up and 295 litres when it's folded down.
So there you have it, an overview of this CLE Cabrio. Now, this thing really is a lot of fun to drive, and it is very fast. But more importantly, it is a proper Grand Tourer, and in every sense of the word. You drop the top and this thing, well, it's just enormous fun. And by the way, you can get topless at speeds of up to 60 kilometres an hour and in just 20 seconds. I'm Graham Fletcher for Driving.ca.